So the jury is in deliberations right now, and it's not clear how long this is going to take. I mean, in my estimation, it should be quick. In my estimation, they should acquit him. There is nothing there. After all, an NDA is perfectly legal, and thus I'm not entirely sure why we're even here in the first place, other than, well, you know, right? They want to make sure that they do everything that they can to debilitate him and his campaign. It's not working, of course, it's not working, but this is their chosen path. What are you going to do when you got a guy who can barely keep his eyes open, let alone help our economy? That would be Joe Biden, of course. Let's go to Donald Trump, who spoke just moments ago outside the courthouse. He didn't do his usual thing earlier in the morning, but he came out and he spoke. And this is kind of interesting to see. I think he's, dare I say, a little bit nervous. I mean, he shouldn't be. But what do you think? I mean, when you've got a city like New York City and you got a judge like you've got in this particular case, I think he has every right to be very nervous. And he's basically saying, look, this shouldn't have happened, but here we are. Like, crazier things have happened, right? So this might actually wind up going to appeal. Can you imagine if this jury actually puts the former president of the United States in prison? I mean, think about that. This is pretty extraordinary. This is pretty extreme. These are crazy times. We are together on the front lines of history, everyone. Let's go to Donald Trump outside the courthouse moments ago.
Say, in listening to the charges from the judge, who's, as you know, very conflicted and corrupt, because of the confliction, very, very corrupt. Mother Teresa could not beat these charges. These charges are rigged. The whole thing is rigged. The whole country's a mess between the borders and fake elections, and you have a trial like this where the judge is so conflicted he can't breathe. He's got to do his job. And it's not for me, that I can tell you. It's a disgrace. And I mean that. Mother Teresa could not beat those charges, but we'll see. We'll see how we do.
You know, that's actually the most sort of defeatist I've heard him sound thus far. I think it could actually go in its favor, but, you know, hey, look, I'm optimistic at my core. I like to believe in the American people. I like to believe that you couldn't have 12 people that would actually say there's no reasonable doubt here. And that's really the standard, right? If one person is saying, gee, I don't know, I don't think, then you can't actually convict him of this. But there are a lot of things at play. A lot of things at play, and politics is the primary thing, shall we be very clear. I mean, why do you think this all came about in the first place? Why did the Fannie Willis thing come about? Why did the Letitia James thing come about, where she's actually going to dictate what she thinks Mar-a-Lago's worth? And boy, you know, she needed to go back and take some math classes, because 18 million, I'll tell you, lady, I'd buy it for 18 million. You're way off. Way, way off. And yet she was going to have him pay a fine of $500 million, $500 million in that case. That's what the judge was ordering. I mean, this is scary stuff, ladies and gentlemen. This is actually really, really alarming. So does he get off? I hope he does. I hope he's acquitted. I think it's the right thing for society, obviously, but it may actually wind up going to appeal, which means the judge could throw him behind bars. Imagine that. And then he's running for the presidency of the United States from behind bars. When I say banana republic, I'm not kidding. This is full-on banana republic kind of stuff. And it's wrong. It shouldn't be happening, but it's where we are right now. It's where we are because Donald Trump dared to get into the mix and dared to shake things up and dared to call out their you-know-what. And apparently those are things you just can't do. And they want to win, no matter what. Remember everything that we went through. Remember Jimmy Carter, the former president of the United States, actually saying that he wasn't a real president, trying to say it was a sham election because the Russians stole it. It was interference from the Russians. That's the only reason why Donald Trump won. Think about that. What a horrendous, horrible thing to say. And then Hillary Clinton doubling down on that, and it was Russia, 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 and we had an entire investigation. Turned out, nope, it wasn't Russia. You know, you can only burn the American people so many times. They start to get wise to this stuff. So as he sits there in court praying for a miracle, Americans are watching and listening, and they're frightened. by this display, as they should be. The bias of the judge very much at issue. You know, of course, by now that the judge's daughter actually has a company, a social media company, by which she makes her living raising money for Democrats, including Adam Schiff. She makes her money off of this stuff. She makes her money off of this stuff, and this is something that Donald Trump has taken issue with time and time again. In fact, we saw him on social media just this morning putting this out. I was going to say he tweeted, but I guess I should say he truthed this out. Quote, "I never knew how small." Oh, this is different. Sorry. We're going to get to this. Thank you, Drew. Drew's throwing this up for me. He's talking about Trump derangement syndrome, which clearly all of these people have. We're going to talk about Robert De Niro because he's responding to some of the comments from Robert De Niro. But one of the other things that he was putting out this morning, actually, on Truth Social, was a series of tweets or truths about how messed up all of this is. All of this is, in fact, because, you know, it shouldn't be happening. Let me share this with you. Kangaroo Court, a corrupt and conflicted judge, reliance on counsel, advice of counsel not allowed by Merchan of First. His rulings on a case that should, according to all legal scholars and experts, never have been brought, have made this a Biden-pushed witch hunt. There was no crime, he writes, except for the bum that got caught stealing from me. In God we trust. Again, putting his faith in God. The bum he was referring to that got caught stealing from him would be none other than the star witness and the whole thing. That's Michael Cohen, who's lied and lied and lied again. And then it came out right there in the courtroom that, what do you know? He stole from the Trump organizations tens of thousands of dollars because he didn't feel like his bonus was strong enough. I mean, wow. Like, you can't make this up. And yet here we are, and they're going after Trump. So he's clearly super frustrated. And I think, judging by what we heard out of the president earlier, the sound that I just played for you, I think he's kind of worried. And that's a sad place for us to be. A very sad place. If he's worried, we should all be worried. Really and truly. He should be acquitted, but we shall see.